with the Lincoln. So today, as the title says, we are doing spark plugs on this thing. So we got some NGK iridiums, and yeah, we're just gonna go at it here. So the Lincoln is going to be doing daily driver duty, because that over there at the point of this video is probably gonna be gone by now. And we have something I am very, very excited for. So unfortunately, the Lincoln has to be a daily driver. So that's not the worst thing though. So when you guys see what I'm getting to kind of replace the Maverick, I guess, or maybe replace the Lincoln, it's all going to be worth it. So I will be daily driving the Lincoln here, which is not a bad thing. So when old cars sit, they break. So I think it'll be nice that I start daily driving this thing again. And really, we have this thing pretty much restored, I mean, for the most part. So let's go ahead and get into these spark plugs right now. But before we get going, I'm going to have a few more videos of the Lincoln. As you can see, we have the back seat tore out right now. So we're doing some speakers there. I'll have a probably separate video on that. But actually even picked up some wheels here that were supposed to go on the Maverick. But I ended up just making a hell of a deal on that thing. So those wheels will actually fit the Lincoln for next year. So, they're like brand new Michelin winter tires on Focus wheels. So they will work. But without any further ado, guys, let's get started on the Lincoln. So pretty much under the hood here, looking at it, we do have the 32-valve Intech V8, which was actually used in the Cobra Mustang, as most of you do know, and it was used in the Mark 8 Lincoln as well. Throughout pretty much the whole 90s and early 2000s. So this motor's been around for a while, and I actually have one of the last runs for the Lincolns. This is obviously a detuned engine. It's got some different cams in it and such. So this one is detuned, like I said. It makes about 275 horsepower. So 2000, after the year 2000, I believe, or 99 or 2000 was when the car got a 10 horsepower bump. So we do have the most powerful configuration in the Continental, basically. That is on, I think, 93 octane. So of course we want to get the most out of it as we can. And that will also be requiring doing a tune-up as far as replacing the spark plugs. So under this cover here, we're going to go ahead and take this off, obviously 4 up here. And really, the back is not that bad to get to. There's going to be a cover back there we will end up getting off as well. But this has kind of been on my list to do on this thing. I wanted to wait until the weather got better, but it's really not even that bad out here. So we're going to go ahead and do the plugs on it, and maybe even do the power steering fluid at some point, maybe even during this process. So I think the fluid actually looks pretty good, but I don't want to get my hands all greasy. I'm going to use some gloves on this. But so like I said, we do have some gloves, or not gloves, but spark plugs. We have spark plugs over here. They are NGK iridiums. Those are really good spark plugs. So they did not have the motorcrafts that I wanted to get. And you know, these are just as good, if not better, but everybody has their own opinion on spark plugs. I'm not going to debate that one way or another, but I do prefer the NGKs. So let's go ahead and get this cover off and see what they look like. I'm going to assume that they are original plugs. The cover should probably come off pretty easily. Might need to pry it off with a screwdriver. Oh yeah, it needed a little precision. Oh, that is definitely factory. That was literally held on by the factory seal. So we have a gasket around that, which that's never going to need to be replaced. But crack in the factory seal, quite literally. We have all Motorcraft coils. And obviously, that looks like the plugs are going to be original. This thing is factory sealed, as you can see. So pretty impressive, honestly. But for the mileage, you know, it doesn't really even have 80,000 miles on it yet. So not too surprised. So let's go ahead and get these unclipped. And let's see what the plugs look like. These are actually very deep. So looking at it, no oil on anything. So that's very, very good. And we can honestly just probably take all these out because they're all numbered. There's no way to mess these up. So yeah, no indications of anything going on too bad under here. Over 20 years old this thing is. So yeah, those plugs look amazing. We're not even going to replace these things as far as the coils go, but let's go look under here and see the plugs. Everything is spotless. So let's go ahead and get these out and see what they look like. So I just pulled the plug out here and really checking it out. Those are 100% original plugs. The electrode looks pretty good actually. So that's the new versus the old. Obviously the new ones are a lot better looking. But yeah, they're the original Motorcraft Platinums. So we have new iridium spark plugs. Let's go ahead and drop this in there. But yeah, pretty impressed though. Nothing's wet with oil. Everything looks pretty good. So I would definitely say this is a pretty nice win with this car, especially when you have, everybody knows your older cars, you're either lucky or not. Sometimes these holes are filled with oil. So super refreshing. I was definitely expecting the worst. So let's go ahead and knock the rest of these out. They're a little tight though, so I kind of had to knock on the ratchet a little bit, but let's go ahead and get this front row done. All right, so I got the plugs in, and I'm just gonna kind of add this to the video just if anybody's curious. I definitely find it curious. They don't snap into the plug. They kind of sit in there. But when looking at the cover, there's these little dimples that push the boot onto the plug. So we're just gonna go put it on, start the car up and see what it does, but I think those serve a purpose. So that's definitely odd. Maybe it's an older design. I've never certainly seen it myself, but everything is buttoned up and I've pushed them and there's no click. So I definitely think this is going to hold everything down. All right, let's see what it does. Let's see if it'll start up. Sounds good to me. All right, so we're gonna get back here and try to get these off. It's definitely gonna be awkward. But as you guys can see, it's definitely possible, and I really was looking into paying somebody to do the plugs on this until I saw a video online. Someone did it actually pretty easy, so that's why I'm gonna try it myself. It just looked too easy to pay somebody. But before I really looked under here, I was really considering just paying somebody to do this, but I mean, they're right here. Let's get this cover off. Let's see how hard this cover is to get off. This one's probably even a little harder to get off because it looks a little dirtier back here, but we'll find out. I can't fit a power gun back here. This is definitely far easier to work on than like a 435 V6. So we're gonna crack the factory seal there. All right. Same deal as the front, just a little more PCV valves, lines to work around. But underneath it is pretty clean little cover. It's done its job over the years. Look at how clean that is. So, and revealing is, yep, you guessed it, all OE equipment plugs. So I'm gonna do the laps here and go at it. So I will update if there's any issues. I don't think so though. Just as far as clearance and some knuckle busting and using your back to bend over this huge ass hood. So explain what I'm doing right now because this is one hell of a setup. I know there's right tools for the right job. I just might not have them, but to get to the back here, the firewall is in the way. There's not a lot of clearance. So in order to get the, the plug removal socket down into the hole, we have to drop it down like that because look at this clearance. We don't have a whole lot of clearance right here. This is all I have, but it's not, the tubes are so deep that I have to have an extension. So I did a bunch of little conversions and I got these little adapters to fit the different size, the 1/4 inch and whatnot ratchets. But so I had to add that so it would fit the smaller one. And then I will hook this up once it gets in the tube. So we'll drop this in the tube like this. It's on the plug. I can feel it. I have just enough finger so I can feel it in there. I can get it on, so thankfully I can do that. But now I'm gonna go ahead and drop my extension down in there, right on top like that. And then I'll take my 1/4 inch ratchet, which a 1/4 inch really isn't the best, but it's what I have, and it's got a swivel head right up top. So with all of those factors, I can have literally just enough room to pop it off, but this is so small, there's not a lot of power behind it, so I really have to push, and when I push, I can break it free. But when I break that plug free, my hands go flying into this, and it hurts. It is a numb, dull pain. So I'll try, because the plugs are seated in there after 20 years. There we go, I learned my lesson from the last one. So we'll crank it out just enough to get it loosened up, because those threads are gonna push this ratchet into the firewall and then I'm not gonna be able to remove it. So we're able to just get it loose enough to where I can pop this off, twist it with just the extension. Now I have to pop the extension off because the threads from the plug are pushing up on this, which leaves me with just enough finger clearance from the other extender, the 1/4 inch extender I have on it. So if that makes sense, I just did it to you for you on camera. I'm not gonna do this with all the plugs, but this is what we have to do the plugs on a front wheel drive V8. Frankly, it's not too bad. It's just you have to MacGyver a few little things. So we'll stick our magnet down there, pull it out just like this, and what we have is another OEM plug. A lot of these Lincolns, nobody does the plugs on the back. Everybody does the plugs on the front, but nobody ever does the back. So hopefully we can get another, maybe a mile or two, a gallon out of some modern plugs, but even these don't look bad. Could have easily probably driven the life of the car, honestly, on these things. But hey, we're gonna do it for peace of mind. But that right there is the process on how we are doing the plugs. Same thing, putting it back in, so you don't want to sit through all of this. So let's go back to the laps and we'll try to wrap it up. Last one. How to do the spark plugs on a V8. Oh my god. We broke a few tools along the way. I don't want to get into it, but man, this is a backbreaker. and a knuckle breaker. It's doable. It's not fun, but you're not doing it every day, so let's get off this thing and get the last one in there. One more to go. Drop that. Drop our spark plug tool, our extension. And we'll tighten it with our hands first. All right, now we'll come in with our ratchet. Nice and snug. All right, we'll pull that off. Get that out. Get our magnet one more time. There we go. We got our spark plug removal tool. Now we pop our boots on. Let's not crack them because these are very brittle. And that's it. The hard part is, well, hopefully over. So I'll route these things back on. But you see the point. This is what it is to do plugs on a Continental. All right, so that's pretty much the spark plug replacement. This was kind of a job I was expecting to be hard, but I was kind of expecting it to be easy. And it was easy until a lot of our tools broke along the way. Not going to really go into that part, but it was just more of a hassle to do than I was expecting. But let's go ahead and start it up now. All plugs are replaced, so there it is. Whether it's running smoother or not, it feels just as good as before. We will find out though on the average mileage. It's already been doing really good on the highway, but yeah, it definitely did not hurt at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it out for a test drive first. But before we do anything, this engine bay is pretty dirty. I'm gonna give it a quick wipe down. So it's had a lot of work on it in the last couple months under the hood, a lot of grease. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get it wiped down. Just some Windex real fast.